Welcome to the Michigan City Sanitation Board meeting. We like to call to order the meeting by roll call, which Harris present, Pellers present, Ettinger's present, and myself present, Mitchell. Absent right now is Mr. Smith. I'd like to get approval of them.
Approve the minutes of the previous.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Public comments?
But before you go on, there's also minutes for September 23rd.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah,
There was a special meeting, one page.
yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the
And I'll second it.
special.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, I'm sorry.
It's not,
Will there be any public comments? Will there be any public comments? Okay, we're gonna move right along. Opening of the quotes and bids or proposals? None. Michigan City Common Council presentation.
I just wanted to let the board know that on the 15th of October, I went to the city council meeting and gave a presentation, the same presentation that I presented at the Partners for Pollution Prevention, and went through a lot of the projects that the sanitary district's doing and some of the amazing things that the city is doing, and I thought the presentation went very well. Got a lot of compliments from the council members about all the great things that we're doing here for the city of Michigan City and that we're doing, and so I just wanted to let everybody know that it went really well. Appreciate the support of Mayor Muir and the city council members for everything that we are able to get done and the things that we have in the works right now. I thought about presenting it at one of our board meetings, but I was asked to give it to the city council, so if you guys want to watch it on TV, you can watch it, but it takes about 45 minutes. There's a lot of information, a lot of stuff that we're doing, so.
Thank you for taking time to go do it.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay. Financial report, Mr. Kistler. Good evening.
All right, I'd like to start by reading the cash balances as of September 30th, 2019. Operating fund, $723,190.89. The improvement fund had $841,634.76. Vehicle replacement had $59,995.58. Equipment replacement at $610,380.51 for a total in that bank account of $2,235,201.74. Indian Springs and Whippoorwill projects had no balances. That's because we made the payment to the SRF for those debt. The SRF debt reserve had $495,100.15. The bond and interest at $90,416.68 for a total at BNY Mellon of $585,516.83. Stormwater at $431,008.74. Refuse at $945,239.04. Special revenue at $7,903.49. The levy excess had $8,522.14, and the rainy day fund had $81,307.78 for a total in that bank account of $1,473,981.19. The Carwick remediation fund had $2,019,271.80 for a total district cash balance of $6,313,971.56. And really, there's not a lot to say. The operating fund continues to improve, and I expect it to do so for the rest of the year because most of the big projects. Oh, well, that's as of September 19th.
Oh, you said.
It's September 30th, 2019. So, you're all right. Thank you, though. I'll put the whole date in. So, if you don't have any questions.
Oh, very
Okay.
good.
And then I put the operating fund performance report. And the thing I'd like to say here is if you go to page 4, at the very bottom, it has the expense totals year-to-date through September. And the total expenses are at 66%. So it would be 75 if,
Yeah.
So we're actually doing a lot better. And this year, when I come to you with the budget next month, we'll budget the revenue. We just didn't budget it last year, and we have a budget for it. I just didn't include it in the budget. So that's all I got to say on that. Monday night, the 2020 stormwater and refuse budgets were passed by the city council. So those are all done. And then the last item I have is at a recent city council meeting, they read some of the State Board of Accounts audit findings. And I just want everybody here to know, there are no funds missing, and everything the auditors cited us for have been corrected. So we remediated it. It won't happen again. We're reconciling pretty much on a daily basis now. So we're not going to live through that again.
But let's keep it clear that there were no irregularities.
No.
It was just, and it wasn't anything sanctioned from the State Board of Accounts. It was basically just saying, these are suggestions that we have.
Right.
And that's what the city council should have said too, that it was only suggestions.
Right. And someone said that, some of the things weren't corrected until July of 2019. And that was because that's when the State Board of Accounts told us to do it.
Right.
They didn't want us to do it, reopen anything, because they didn't feel it was material enough. So they told us to do it all in July, and that's what we did. And now the bank accounts are all being reconciled within 3 working days of month end. So everything's been fixed. I just want to let you know if you heard something.
Thank you.
Okay. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Kessler. I'd like to make mention that Commissioner Smith is present now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for being 5 minutes late.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. McCoy, safety.
Good afternoon. Okay, last month we did have 2 recordable injuries. Both of them occurred in the refuse department. One was over in Fairway Drive. A loader stepped in a hole along the roadway, sprained his right ankle. He was on restricted work activity and has since returned back to work. The other gentleman, the loader also, was lifting heavy furniture into the refuse truck and felt pain in his lower back and hip. And he was placed on restricted work activity, and he continues to be on that and is receiving physical therapy while he's on restricted work activity. And so looking at some of the other activities, on process safety management, risk management program, on our chlorination, sulfonation process. Last month I mentioned about the process mishap that occurred on August 26th. And just to let you know that we completed a root cause analysis with excellent input from the chief operator, chief mechanic, water reclamation superintendent, and most of the mechanics in the maintenance department. And so out of that, we have some action items that we're closing on and getting that taken care of rapidly. In addition to that, as you'll see in the monthly report, that we held some hands-on fire extinguisher training, and assistance was provided, which was excellent, by Michigan City Fire Department. So myself and Tony provided training, and I'm very pleased to report that 100% participation. Every employee in the district attended that training and successfully extinguished a small pan fire. Mr. Cuss, excellent job on it. And you'll see a photograph right there of our esteemed financial manager extinguishing a small fire. So he's not only capable of extinguishing financial fires, but he can also extinguish actual real fires. Outstanding there. Oh, such a humble man. Okay, so on a serious note here, we continue to do a plan for some training on recertification for our heavy equipment. We have 15 employees that were originally certified on heavy equipment through United Rentals back in 2017, and they're up for their biennial recertification. And so we have 30 different certifications on 5 pieces of heavy equipment that'll be completed by 15 employees. So that's next week. So it'll be a pretty busy week. In addition, we have snowplow safety training coming up on November 19th. We have just under 30 district employees attending, and so that training will take place at Krieger Hall. And then next week, I'll get some information out. We're now into our leaf collection time period, going around the city and cleaning up all the leaves and materials that have collected. So we need to make sure that we have our equipment ready to go, and make sure that we cover some safety procedures on the safe operation of that equipment. So that'll take place starting late next week and then into the first week of November, and we'll do that training. And I believe we'll commence leaf collection just shortly after that. So that is essentially it. Any questions?
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Dan.
All right. Next is project updates. Mr. Cook, I believe that's you.
Weaver.
Weaver.
First one is Weaver Consulting, is Brian.
Hello, Brian Deverona, Weaver Consultants.
All right.
Give an update on the progress. It's moving along.
Carwick dump
Yep,
site.
sorry. Carwick dump site, Nature Park corrective action project. The bank work is almost 100% complete. The excavation is complete. The clay liner is 100% complete. The shore socks erosion control and the erosion control blanket above that is about 90% complete. There's one little stretch south of the road that needs to be put on, and then that will be 100% complete. Woodruff is continuing to do some upland park area grading. They're starting the clean soil backfill over the top of the prepared subgrade, and then topsoil above that to start getting all the entire area covered and seeded. So they're working from north to south now. I believe their plan is they're going to jump from south and start working their way back north with the clean soil fill. That's what the project superintendent told me today. I was out there today just to get another update. So there's not a, doesn't look like there's a pay request this month, but there was a change order that they submitted. I know that's not on.
Oh, you
the
had a pay
copy,
request for your.
Oh, we did,
your
yes,
work,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, yeah, there was no
I
contract.
move that
pay
we
request.
pay Weaver Consultants invoice of $33,996.42.
Can we get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And then now you can go to the change order.
Okay. We received a change order. This was for a modification to one of the force main cleanouts. There's one down by the bridge that's toward the south side of the project. And due to the alignment of how we had to directionally bore the force main, under that bridge, it got put in just a little bit closer to the road than we thought it was going to. So we want to make sure that it's safe for traffic. It's not going to be something that someone's going to, so we're gonna do a flush mount, you know, put a, we're changing it so that they're not raised above the ground, they're gonna be flush to the ground surface and with a H20, you know, 20 frame and grate over the top of them so that if something does drive on it, it's going to be okay. There'll be a little concrete pad around it as well that'll be flush with the surrounding grades.
And staff has reviewed this change order and recommend that the board approve change order number 2.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 2 for Weaver Consultants for $53,000. Is that right?
You know,
$5,765, second page.
yeah, yeah, just
$5,765 even.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed?
okay. So that's, I mean, that's really about where we stand.
It's looking good. I drove
It
by
does
there.
look nice when you go out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
It really does. So are they gonna get all that topsoil in? How soon?
They're gonna. The latest update I got from was they're thinking the end of probably be complete with all the backfill material by the end of November.
How many trucks do they gotta bring in? 100?
More.
200?
You know, I could probably do some math.
No, I just think there's probably a lot. And
There is quite a few trucks to come in,
That's,
yes, because they're.
Right.
Yeah. I'm an engineer. I can do the math, but I just don't know what I'm talking
No,
about.
I was out there today and I was looking at,
You just find a financial
it looked like a whole lot.
Maybe.
There's a lot. There's a lot of soil.
Yeah.
Now the good news is that the hard part the time that's taking the thing that's taking a lot of time is getting it graded properly, and all the erosion control stuff is very labor intensive. Once they get the subgrade established, which if I had to throw a number, I'd say they're 80%, maybe more, complete with that. Then it's just a matter of hauling the soil in. Get as many trucks as they can going and just get it all placed and graded and then surveyed. So.
Okay.
They're hopeful that it will...
And seeded.
And seeded, absolutely, and mulched, which will help it get through, the winter.
And there's one spot in the bank where we're putting the river crossing to try to work on that for the Cheney Run.
Yes,
On
that
on
ramp
the
is
bank,
in there.
and we need to evaluate that a little more closely. You guys might have talked about it a little bit today. Was there any more news on that?
Well, I think because it's temporary, there's a temporary ramp placed for the Cheney Run project to get some materials across the creek. And when that ramp is no longer needed, it's going to be removed and then replaced with the materials, that exactly like what is in the rest of the bank. So that's a temporary measure. It's not a permanent change to what was permitted for the Carwick project. That's what I was just...
In an effort to try to save time and resources, instead of putting the bank the way it's going to be finished and then having the Cheney Run project come in and cut it all out to put this river crossing in so they could get their equipment across the creek to do the Cheney Run project, we took the steps ahead of time to be more efficient and proactive, to leave, it's just a small narrow spot that you can get the equipment across, leave that part of the bank restoration at a less slope so that they can build the river crossing and get across. But our permit for the project requires the banks to be put up, so when we get the Cheney Run project done or finished with that, then we will finish that part of the bank up. Just wanted everybody to know what was going on.
Right, it's like a 15-foot wide strip, essentially. It's currently stone, and then they'll remove the stone and put...
And we're not worried about erosion because it's all stoned in. The erosion's not gonna happen. It's just more of the final permitting, what we need to get done, so.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
V3 engineers?
Speaking of Cheney Run.
Hi, am I supposed to state my name?
Yes, sure.
Okay, all right, sorry. I'm Teddy Block with V3 Companies. We're the consulting engineer on the Cheney Run project, right across Trail Creek from Carwick. Update is we are we are 100% done with the design plans and hope to be done with the contract documents are all done. Like, we got to get them in for Jim to look at and say, yeah, these are good, this week. And then, so we would like to put this out to bid as early as next week, I would think. So
We'd like to ask the board is for approval to issue a request for bids, pending staff review and attorney review of all drawings and bid documents.
So moved.
Second?
Before you do it, the board is supposed to approve the design based on your recommendation
Okay.
first.
Oh.
And authorize it to be bid. So, it's the same, it's a one motion, but you approve the design and you
Design
authorize
and
it.
authorization to, so I move that we approve for the Cheney Run Stormwater Project, design and authorization to bid this project after the review of council and staff.
Can we get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And those, right now, those bids would be due to be opened at our November 20th board meeting. Don't forget that board meeting is a week earlier because of Thanksgiving.
Okay. Thank you.
the permits, we already received the signed Army Corps permit. The IDEM permit is sitting on the director's desk waiting for signature. The project manager has already submitted it. I've talked to him. There's no changes. He's fine with the plans, so we're good there. The survey is complete for the GAF property donation that we're going to need as part of the parcel.
And I sent that information to the GAF folks, I think, last Friday, or Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, it was last week, yeah.
So hopefully we can get that final sign off on them giving the property to us for $1.
Yeah. And then we don't have a pay request this month. You guys have any other questions about the project right now?
Is there a DNR permit too? I didn't have a...
Oh, yeah. The DNR permit, we've received the comments. Same thing, we actually got another comment from Rod Edgell, who's with DNR later today. But no hiccups there. We have complied with all the requests. We're just, they'll get that, and they plan on issuing the permit within 30 days of receipt, because they have to wait 30 days when they get their comments.
Final.
Yeah, the response.
I just didn't have an item on there. I'll have to add that for the next board meeting
Oh, okay.
if I need to.
Now, can any of these permits, officially postpone the letting or the whatever?
They would, if we don't have the permits, we can't start construction.
You can't start construction, but
Right.
you can award the contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think that we'll be. I think I don't think they'll mobilize for construction or even intend to mobilize before we have all these permits in hand. And there.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, thanks.
There was a, hang on a second, there was one more thing here that I had for that. I had it in my packet at one point in time. Oh, here they are. We had this, if you could take one and pass it down, we'll give one to Mr. Meyer and one for Ted first. This is a professional service agreement. You might remember at the last board meeting, we opened up the proposals for the professional service agreement for the design of the recreational amenities and the planning and design of the recreational amenities that go along with the Cheney Run project. And you allowed us to review those and select the company that we felt was the best suited to do this work and the best and interest of the sanitary district in the city of Michigan City. And that all the plans were reviewed and a meeting was held.
Your proposal.
The proposal, were reviewed, and Mr. Meyer was involved and Mr. Stanford was involved, and they worked it out, and we decided to use the V3 companies to do that work. So this is a professional service agreement to do this work. for the design of the recreational amenities, and I believe we have a grant that's covering most, if not all of this work for, so there's really not much cost to the sanitary district. And the total cost of this is,
$59,660.
okay, and I'm asking for the board approval of this professional
I move
service.
that we approve the professional services agreement with V3 Companies Limited for the Cheney Run recreational amenities planning and design, not to exceed $59,660.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, no opposed.
Thank you, I had that on my notes on my agenda, and I almost.
I wasn't wondering if we were gonna do that today. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
We'll get
We
that
got
signed.
to work with you guys.
All right.
We'll get that signed and get that off to you, and you can start working on that now.
Okay, Mr. Doyle.
That don't look like John.
No, I don't.
Much younger. And better.
All right, John Doyle. Tricky chair.
All right,
Make sure you're kept awake.
Yeah. I guess, let's see, got Parker Ave, North of York and Lafayette, this project is complete.
Project's complete?
Yep.
Okay.
And waiting on pay request.
I'm waiting on invoices from the contractor.
Right, working on that. And I guess we have one into you.
There's an engineering pay request for $7,165.
I move that we accept that pay request from John Doyle and Associates for $7,165.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And then Arthur Street Storm Sewer Project, that project is complete there too.
But you're still waiting on
Pay requests from the
invoices from the contractor? Okay,
Yep.
that's why I have to leave it on here.
Right.
I guess I could put project complete, waiting for invoices, but
Okay. Highway 20 Streevel, the drawings are complete. We're waiting for permits from the Army Corps.
have you heard anything back from them at all? Nothing at all?
He said no, not yet.
Okay, I'll reach out to our contacts again and see if we can, because that's been 2 months now, at least, hasn't it been?
Seems like I have.
Okay, maybe even longer.
And then the Highway 20 sewer crossing at Pine Tree. Plans are complete. We need a couple signatures from you, and then we'll get that all sent out.
Okay. I signed the permits. for the-
Waiver of bond.
Oh, I never saw those yet.
Okay.
I did sign the permit application for the INDOT
Okay.
permit application, and I had Johnny Corsica drop it off at your office last week.
Okay. He said something about a waiver of bond. We have to get that.
Okay, I
Right.
don't think I've seen that, but,
He might not have got it.
okay, all right.
All right. I guess that's it.
Any other questions for?
Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
Yeah. it was easy.
That was quick.
Thank you very much.
Haas and Associates.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ryan Laughlin with Haas and Associates. Just give you a quick update on the Village Road. It's not west wind, it's south wind, and that actually was removed from the project. Just for clarity there, it's was bid as the Southgate Neighborhood Stormwater Improvements Project of 2019. Just for
Yeah, that's just a change in the name. The location is the same.
it's the same project.
It's on
We're referring to the same
Crestwood
project.
and Village Road.
I don't mean to cause confusion,
So
but
change Westland to Crestwood, and then everything will be okay.
anyway, project update is right now NIPSCO's actually they were out there today and they've been installing the 2-inch and 4-inch gas mains that needed to be relocated to make way for the storm water improvements. They're expecting that work should be actually completed and the service lines transferred over to the new lines by Friday or possibly Monday. D&M's waiting for that work to be done before they can begin their work, so they'll be mobilizing probably next week.
Has D&M talked to you at all about the alternative A? 'Cause I tried to reach out to them. I meant to call them again yesterday and today, and I never did. Has he mentioned anything to you about it?
I've not heard anything.
All right, I gotta reach out to him again.
What is it, alternative? I forgot.
It's extending the storm sewer down one of the
Village
streets.
Road.
Oh,
I live-
further.
yeah, okay. Yeah. And that would be paid for by?
It would still all go through redevelopment, it's just that we don't really have enough to do all that, so I was asking if, since he's gonna be out there, and there was another alternative that allowed for an extension of time, if he could, if we could put those two things together, the extension of time, which I believe was like $14,000 reduction, some odd dollar reduction, and then the alternative, I was asking if he could come down a little bit on his price, since he would already be out there and have more time, and we could get this whole project in. But I haven't gotten a response back yet.
So that's where we're at right now with everything. If you have any questions, I can answer them.
Yeah, I believe there's a pay request
Yes.
for, I recommend that we approve pay request number 11 for Austin Associates in the amount $29,208.55.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed?
And then there was another packet, there should be another memo in here maybe?
Behind it.
122. For pay request.
It's right behind this pay request, it's a loan sheet by itself. Mr. Kistler put this together for your benefit, just to show you all the invoices to date that were paid, and of course the last one that you just approved. And that brings the total engineering fees for the project so far to $122,828.40. And that's of course been all sent to the Redevelopment Commission for reimbursement. So, and,
But it hasn't been paid yet.
No, it's gonna be paid, I believe, November 11th.
Okay.
But it's, this is nice because it shows you a running summary, so we'll try to put that in each time maybe for the rest of this project.
Well, I was waiting to see about the funding before
Yeah.
I asked for the reimbursement.
Yeah, and then we could also, when this construction starts, we could have a similar table for the construction.
Okay, excellent,
too.
excellent.
Thanks, Ryan, sorry.
Okay. I'm Jim Mauer. I'm going to give a status report for the sanitary district, preliminary engineering report for the Long Beach Lakeshore Drive sewer project. On Monday of this week, we sent the project cost, construction and associated project cost estimate to sanitary district and town of Long Beach officials for review and comments. Yesterday, we sent the conceptual details for the 3 lift stations that will be required for the gravity sanitary sewer alternatives to sanitary district officials for review and comments. And I understand the meeting is trying to be set up to talk about that.
Kevin said anytime tomorrow or Friday morning. I just didn't get a chance to forward you his email yet. So
Okay.
if you could do either of those dates, if not, we'll have to push it back till Monday. But
Tomorrow morning or Friday morning?
tomorrow, anytime, or, well, we have our Northwest Opera Association meeting at noon, so that'll probably last till 2, so except between noon and 2 tomorrow, and Friday morning will work.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, we'll set something up.
Okay, very good.
Then, once the conceptual lift station plans are established, finalized, the costs are finalized, we can complete the preliminary report. We can select the plan, which the Long Beach Lakeshore Drive residents have already by survey indicated they strongly approve the gravity sewer system rather than a pressure sewer system with individual grinder pumps. But, so I'm anticipating that's going to be the selected plan in the report, and then we can write the administrative and management section concerning that selected plan, and then we can send it to the SRF section of item for review and authority or authorization to hold a public hearing. And then the results of the public hearing will complete the report. And hopefully, everything will be acceptable and the project will proceed into design.
So the gravity will probably cost more than the pressure. How much more? 10%, 20, 50?
Try 100.
Yeah, about
Really?
100% more.
That's, okay.
And just, poll results will not satisfy this question. The question has to be answered by the town council as to which option they wish to pursue.
Right, and the money.
One of them, well, that's why they have to approve, because they have to end up paying for it through various indirect methods.
Yeah.
And it's like roughly 4 million versus 8 million. Approximately.
And this is just for the Lakeshore,
Lakeshore Drive,
yeah.
the entire
It's
line.
not,
Not the-
it's not the additional that we had talked about, you guys looking at,
Right.
the whole town.
Well, my understanding is you've looked at the additional with respect to building
Capacity.
capacity,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
But
Okay.
this here is just for Lakeshore Drive.
Right.
And so how many residents will be using this roughly?
Hopefully all 295.
That are along Lakeshore Drive.
Right.
So you divide 4 million by 300 and that's,
They came up with a figure if both sides of the road ties in, someone had a figure of around $115, $120 a month for the sewer bill. I don't know how accurate that figure was, but that was,
One of the board members.
Yeah, board members.
From the town council members would be more accurate.
The point is, it's not our decision, it's going to be their decision, so, we just leave it at that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right, yeah. The residents have to pay for it, and the residents elect the town council, so the town council has to make the decision.
But the numbers that Mr. Maurer put together that I looked at yesterday or the day before, they looked really good. They were really thorough and really like looking at them, and just goes to show you how much work you have to put into a project like this. It's not easy. So we'll get the lift station specs looked at here soon, and you can be on your way with getting the final preliminary engineering report, and we'll see where it goes from there.
well, can you see those houses are worth, $1 million or so, an extra, what, $10,000?
So,
That has to be worked out.
do you have, they have an engineering pay request for this, is that right? Number 5? For $7,046.25, and we've looked that over and found it to be in good standing with our policies, and we,
I move that we pay Haas the $7,046.25.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed?
Thank you.
In regard to the north end study, I'll give a quick update. Essentially, we have collected all the locations of the sewer junction structures, and we are in the process of so-called dipping, collecting the structure metadata. We'll be using that as we move forward. Once that's done, we'll be using that to compile it and put it together into the shapefile database, which will then serve as the basis for the sewer network modeling. And then after that is done, we'll move into analysis. So everything sounds good there.
Sounds good.
All right.
thank you very much for the update.
Thanks, Haas, guys.
Mr. Cuss, you have the floor.
As you may remember, we received this grant from the Volkswagen, whatever it was called, remediation fund. I guess it's probably not the right word. What's the right word, Mr. Meyer?
Environmental trust.
Environmental Trust Fund for their shenanigans that they were playing with the emissions from their Volkswagen trucks. And we have been evaluating the procurement procedures of going through a source well, which is formerly NJPA, which is an organization across the United States where municipalities can purchase what they want directly from this and eliminate some of the work and procedures that have to go in through the competitive bidding process. We've talked this over with our attorney several times, and he recommends to us each time that we still should get some competitive quotes and bids, so we may just go out and put it out for bids. We asked one truck manufacturer, one truck supplier, I should say, and he says, well, do you want me to give you a price that I would give you for bids, or do you want me to give you the source well price? And I didn't really understand why they would necessarily be different, but, so, right now, we're still evaluating that, but soon we need to get that out on the streets so that we can get these trucks purchased. So it'll be 3 new dump trucks. And, there's a few things we could do with it. There's one that's called a hook. I don't know if I really understand it, but a hook where you can lower the body down, and you could pull off the bed, and you could put on a different kind of beds, and like a leaf vac or a dump bed or a salt box bed. So he was telling us about that. And then of course snow plows, and do we want to have snow plows on all the vehicles? And I think we're going to definitely want to have at least on 2 out of the 3 to help out with that as the city moves forward.
So we're getting money from Volkswagen, and we're just trying to determine whether we go to a single source or whether we bid it out.
It's not a single source. It's the name is called Sourcewell. It's a consortium of people that buy things together.
No, it's run through the town of city of Minneapolis. But they've gone through the process. The theory is, of course, anytime you spend public money, you have to have competitive procurement. And when you're talking about something in the neighborhood of 600,000, it's got to be more than just a phone call. So the Sourcewell, in theory, and legitimately, have gotten bids, just like the state QPA, some of you may.
Yeah, it's similar to QPA.
It's very similar to that, except instead of just the state of Indiana, they did it more or less, I don't say nationwide, but broader than just Minnesota and other states. And they've come up with a bid price from, the various companies that they solicited. What my point was, to Michael, in reference to this, is you can't, I don't recommend that the board just say, fine, go with Sourcewell without getting some other quotes or some information, so you have in the record, because you're spending public money, and the public would probably like to see that you made some effort to verify that in fact this was the lowest quote. I suspect it will be, but, documentation is usually preferred.
Can we get the?
Somebody told me that over the phone.
You can get anything you want. It's a little confusing to me, but you can get anything you want. I think what it might be is that these people look at the pricing and they decide what's a good price and what's a fair price and what's the lowest price you can get all the stuff for. That's how I think it works.
So let me ask you a question on that. We don't need to have a bid price and the source price from them. If we just go out and get 2 other bids,
Correct.
we should be legally okay, right?
Yeah.
So I just think we just get the source.
Yeah, technically, legally, you could just go to Sourcewell.
Right, so just get Sourcewell's price and then do 2 other bids.
Right. Some other process where you end up with a document signed by somebody
Right.
saying that this is what a price would be if you bought it from us.
And people bidding, if we had 2 or 3 other bidders, they would have the Sourcewell price, right?
No.
They would know it?
Well, they can go on the internet and see it,
Yeah, okay.
but
But
theoretically,
Yeah, we could either put it out for formal bids and then everyone could bid, or we could use the Sourcewell, but have a check of getting some quotes from somebody, just send us some quotes. What would you do this, how much could you build this truck for? If the guy says he could build it for $100,000 cheaper, then, then we'd have to go out and we'd have to put out formal bids, and then we'd have to see how they come in, because we wouldn't be able to just take that price.
Right.
And this was all included in the budget that was approved Monday.
Good.
Okay. Item 2 is the Broadway Storm Sewer Engineering proposal that we got from John Doyle. We really have not had a chance to evaluate that thoroughly. I looked it over a little bit on my own, and he's talking about designing an entire storm sewer for Broadway Street that would go from behind the fire admin building, if you know where that is on Michigan Boulevard, right behind that is Broadway, and then it would run from there to out towards Risky, and then go into the storm sewer and eventually get into the Cheney Run. I really think it's something that we need to do, but the engineering costs, as you guys know, these engineering costs, they're not, it's going to cost like $10,000, $20,000 for the engineering, and we need to look at that in our budget and see if we can do that with the budget. We might want to wait till next year. So in the meantime, we started looking at putting the drywall in just at the fire station, which could eventually be tied to this Broadway Street storm sewer. And I don't really remember the exact price of the engineering. I just know that I haven't had a chance to evaluate it. So maybe by the next board meeting, I'll have a more definitive answer about moving forward with that. Okay? Lab audit. We had an internal lab audit, as you guys know, with our accreditation through the ISO standard, we have to do an internal audit once a year of ourselves, internal audit. We have typically hired a contractor to come in and do that internal audit for us because we think that that is going to give us the best value. We can do it ourselves, hence the name internal audit. We hired a different person this time. We had been working with that Group 7 Laboratories, Ken Staub. This time we went with a person who is formerly with Microvac Laboratories in the area here, and he gave us an internal audit, and he found several things that he noted, but again, most of these things that they find are, this is a new standard, and you interpret the new standard, and it's just like, most of it's just paperwork, exercise stuff. In fact, if you remember, we actually had the A2LA accreditation people were here literally a couple months before he was here, and they only found a couple of things. He found more than that person found, but I think we can clean all that up, and again, it's internally trying to help you improve, so I think that went pretty well. The Brownfield Grant Project update is, what I got update on there, I got it on there twice. We have the $600,000 grant for doing the assessments of the properties with the brownfields through the US EPA. From talking to our contractors, they said that Michigan City is moving faster with this grant project than any other city that they've ever worked with on this, and they really appreciate our efforts. We had 17 sites identified for potential work. There were several of the owners of those properties that did not want to participate, but the ones that wanted to participate were moving fast and furious with getting the phase 1s and phase 2s going, and we sent in our annual report just recently, and fourth quarterly report we sent in also. The federal fiscal year is September 30th through October 1st for the feds, so this is their fourth quarter just ended, but of course you go through the fourth quarter and the report's due 30 days after that. So we're doing really well on that. If you want me to, or if maybe the next meeting, maybe I could try to get some more specificity, how do you say it?
Specificity.
About the projects. Could tell you which ones we're working on and where we are with that.
Say specifics.
Specifics, there you go. Trail Creek Week, we had the, you approved last time that donation for the Trail Creek Week outreach, and I wanted to tell you that the sanitary district placed second in the Creekness Stakes this year. So,
All right.
our bowl, so that we had the rowers. They did a nice job, but mostly that, it's not about that, it's about the education and the outreach for the kids in the Trail Creek Week, and it really is quite a good event. And I know Nicole Messicar with the county soil conservation, she does a great job with posting that, and so many other volunteers too that help with that program.
Michael, I think it's worth mentioning, young Mr. Byers was a very good paddler on our team.
Yeah, the new engineer we hired apparently made the difference between a non-finish on the leaderboard and a second place silver medal.
Oh, so it just wasn't silver to bronze.
Yeah, we didn't even get bronze last year. I think we had like 6th place. So. But okay, the energy savings report is in here in your packet. In September, it's highlighted in red. We saved $2,763 over the average of the previous 3 years. And we had a higher demand, 18,000 usage demand, and that's because on September 27th, you might remember, it rained like cats and dogs that day, and actually got a lot of rain, but of course we didn't overflow. We hardly even had very much filling out our basin, so I think that was good. But that was the reason for the higher demand, but we still saw a pretty nice, savings of almost $3,000. I anticipate the November report, which goes through most of October, will really probably show some better savings than we're hoping anyway. And then this next sheet shows your demands, and you can see the point I wanted to point out on this sheet is, since we put these capacitors in, our peak rating capacity was a power factor or power rating of 99.99. and the non-peak was 99.99. And remember, if you don't get up to 95, you pay a penalty on top of the fee that you pay for the demand. You pay a penalty on top of that, which is a pretty significant penalty. And as you can see, the last 2 months since we had those capacitors in, we're at 99.99%. We had 99.98 on the off-peak last time. So that really shows a big difference between the other numbers. If you just scan through, we were paying a penalty every single month. There was only a couple months, December of 18 and January of 19. I think we're only a couple months where we were actually above the 95 threshold. So we're not paying that penalty anymore now, and that's going to also show more savings. So very happy with that project. The Bagley plume, I really don't have anything from what I had last time. We had done a little additional monitoring. The Ohio Street construction project, we have no report from the engineers. There was 1 or 2 minor punch list items that needed to get done, and I understand that they were actually working on those recently, so maybe next month we'll be able to say that the Ohio Street construction project is done. Keep your fingers crossed. The Ohio Street contract, digester electrical project. Basically, that status is the same. If you notice, I put on here equipment, the last line down there, B, Roman numeral 3, equipment is supposed to be delivered in October/November. I just saw an email today from the Arctic engineers, are the ones that are going to be installing the HVAC stuff, and they said that the blowers are due to ship to their company on November 2nd, I think is what the email said. So hopefully, I don't think we'll be able to say this is closed out at the November meeting, but by the December meeting, there might be a slight possibility that we can finally be done with the electrical project. If not, certainly January's meeting. The White Ditch project, we realized that we need to have a permit for the White Ditch work, and we finally got the wetlands survey completed by Weaver Consultants. That's done, and we will submit applications to the U.S. Army Corps and IDEM. Those should be definitely submitted by October 31st. And then once we get those permits, then we can look at doing that work on the White Ditch. Sewer maintenance letter policy, that's been on there for a couple months. Steve and I did meet about this on 2 occasions, and yesterday he forwarded me an updated policy, kind of tried to streamline the policy a little bit just to get to the meats of this policy about reporting and letting us know, and I believe we'll have that for you at the next meeting. The blue swag is coming along good. You have your report in here. We met again today. I wanted to give a shout out to Ryan Byers and to who's our new engineer, and to Tony Basil, who is our Tony Basil, who is our GIS coordinator. They put together a new tracking system for where we have people that say, hey, my street's not draining, I get this ponding in front of my house. Well, what can we do about it? Well, what they did was they put together a nice system with the maps where you can go to one site, they're all on there, and you can click on it, and then it gives you all the details about it. And then also, they made a scoring system of 0 through 10 with different ratings. Public safety, is it causing a nuisance, is there environmental impact, and there was a 4th category too. And then you rate all that, and it comes up with a rating, and then that's what we're going to use to prioritize these projects going forward. And then also the cost of construction. Ryan has good experience with that, where he can go and look at the cost of different pipes and different linear feet and stuff to try to put that together. And that'll give us a better handle on these projects. And 2 things will happen with that. One, we'll be able to, the ones that we can afford and we can get done, we'll be able to knock them out, whether we do the work ourselves or whether we contract. And then also, it'll give us a really good solid database of things that we can take to the city council and take to the mayor and say, look, here's 5 or 6 projects that we need to get done. The total cost is, X. Can you help us fund these projects if we need to? Or looking at a long-term plan for getting these things. But it's really really impressive, the work that they both did on this, and I think it'll go a long way for helping us. And the blue swag is just, our swag meetings, our stormwater advisory group meetings are really a good thing.
Yeah, I was at the meeting, and what Tony and Ryan have done is wonderful, really good work.
And then we have an invoice here from Delta Institute, who is our contractor that manages the blue swag, for $2,549.37, and I'd just like to bring it up to the board and ask if you guys could just give this approval. It's all been approved.
Yeah, I move that we approve the Delta Institute pay request in the amount of $2,549.37.
So we get a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And then after that, we have the monthly activity reports from the staff, and we haven't been really delving into those. I hope that you guys still like those and still read those.
Oh, yeah.
I get impressed every time I see them with all the work that's being done. I normally read the tonnage report for September. We had a grand total of 1,199. We couldn't quite make it to 1,200. 1,199 tons of refuse that we picked up, which is pretty consistent with the previous months. And then we also have the chart that shows you how it compares throughout the year for the loose and the compact. I need to get her to put the totals on here because I think the total will probably be more representative, but as you can see, we're still continuing to do that. Also, the refuse department worked on Saturday, and right now we're working 10-hour days to make sure that we keep up with all the items that are thrown out. For instance, over the weekend, if you were around the area, it was very, very beautiful weather. I think it cut about 7 strokes off Mr. Meyer's golf game. So on Sunday, so I think he got about a 109 now or something. Or so
I actually broke behind you.
Okay, he got under 100 now.
Bogey golfer, huh?
So the weather helped him out, I'm sure, because I know the week before when I asked him, he said he played in the rain. So, but anyways, I'm digressing. Sorry. The reason I'm pointing that out is because when the weather's nice like this, people put the stuff out. They put it out, and that's what everybody does per se when you get a nice day in the fall and the spring, especially because in the fall you're trying to get it out, so you're not looking at it all winter, and in the spring you're thinking all the stuff that I was supposed to get out and I didn't get done. So those are the things that happen. So we had quite a big list, and that's one of the reasons why the refuse department's been working some overtime here, and will continue to do so. And then also leaf season is just about upon us. Leaves are still mostly green on the trees, but we try to keep up on that. We have an area that we do along the street department has an area, we have an area that we do. And sometimes too, people ask, well, why is the sanitary district picking up leaves? Well, where does the leaves go? They go into the storm sewers, and it causes pollution, and we don't want that organic pollution getting out to the creeks and to the Lake Michigan for sure. So that's one of the reasons why we pick that up and benefit for stormwater control.
Also keep your stormwater system functioning.
Yes.
So it doesn't get blocked up, and you're responsible for maintaining the system of the city.
For sure. There you go.
Is that a public service announcement?
Absolutely.
Can I ask you, there at the McCulloch, right before, as you're heading south, towards the train bridge there,
Okay.
that floods, during heavy rain.
Shouldn't flood anymore.
What did you guys fix?
Yeah, we put a new pipe all the way through there. We really don't know for sure, but there was a storm drain there in that low area there where you're talking about as you're going south, just before the bridge. And we stuck our camera through there, and we went pretty far, but we could never get all the way to the creek. And then at the creek, there was a corrugated metal pipe that used to run water out, and we tested it, and it was pretty high. I mean, not super high. It was like 14 milligrams per liter or something, 12 milligrams per liter ammonia. And we figured it was leachate water getting into that pipe. So what we think it was a pipe that was put in years ago from that drain in through the landfill out to the creek to take that stormwater. But anyone who know, a corrugated metal pipe in the middle of a landfill is not the right type of material, and it just ate itself away. So that's what we think happened, because we could never get all the way through with the camera, or we even dye tested it too. We never could get dye to come out. But what we did for the Carwick project is we put in a high-density polyethylene pipe with walls on it like this, and we put that from that storm drain all the way through the Carwick,
Oh, good.
and that'll,
That always
we
flies.
think that should last somewhere between 700 and 1,500 years, we think, something like that. So we really don't know how that'll ever have a problem, so.
Okay, good, thank you.
And that should not be flooding anymore. That's all I had. So we're up to Mr. Meyer.
All right, Mr. Meyer.
I really don't have anything unless somebody's got any questions. I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you for your good work.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. You'd like to approve and allow the revenue tax?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed?
That was-
Will there be any old business?
I'd just like to ask, you know, we're gonna build a new building for the IT department or something like that, or what was the,
We had this building assessment plan that we were working
that
on.
was Haas that did that, wasn't it?
They were working on it, and they came up with some preliminary drawings, and the IT department wanted to make some input into those drawings and basically said, let us come up with a preliminary kind of floor plan for you, and they have yet to do that yet because of their.
Well, what I'd like to suggest is that we make it IT and engineering department of building,
We could,
and put the engineers and the IT together, and
we possibly could.
I think that,
That's one of the reasons, if you remember, there was this garage, a property that had this garage, and then it was up for sale, and we researched the price and everything, and we purchased it because that's what.
yeah, I
we were
just
gonna
met the
try to
man
do.
who sold it to you.
There you go. He's a nice man, actually.
Oh, yeah, he lives on 9th Street, and we fixed his sidewalk for him.
Did he get his, he was telling me he was going to engineering school. Did he get his engineering degree?
Yeah,
You know?
no, he didn't, he
Okay.
went to
Still working
Purdue.
on it? Yeah, okay. He's a nice man. But yeah, we could look at that, Spike.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the building across the street you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Well, they were gonna
And
do
there's a house.
Yeah. No, this is the garage. There was a garage behind this
okay.
building over here.
Okay.
The house that you're talking about is over that way a little more, that we store our files in. We use that for file storage.
Right across the street, catty corner.
Right.
Anything else?
Any new business?
Just a quick comment.
Okay.
On the staff monthly reports, there's a lot of really great information in there, and I want to make sure that, the entire staff, of all the things you probably do, that's probably one of the least fun, and one of the things that you don't look forward to. But undoubtedly, having that information to us and allowing us to have a look, it really, really helps to give us an idea of what's going on when we're not there. So thank you very much for those reports. They are really broad and very sometimes very detailed, and they're pretty amazing. So good job.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank Rachel for the yellow markers on our,
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
that works nice.
Good.
Because,
Yeah, good. I was doing it on my copy for years, so I decided to try it with you guys if you like it, so.
awesome. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Can I get a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
The next meeting regular meeting is on November the 20th, 2019.